All right. Apparently, there is a Sword Art Online video game coming out, and it is called Echoes of Aincrad. It's a preview. This is from IGN. I don't exactly know what this game is all about. I seen like eight articles come up on my timeline about it. I was like, I'm gonna watch a video. You know, let's get to it.
Sometimes you go in blind on a new game. That's how it was for me with Sword Art Online Echoes of Aincrad.
Is it out already?
I'll be honest with y'all, I'm not a Sword Art Online guy.
I did watch Sword Art season, I want to say 1 and 2, and the one with the guns and his cousin. And that after that, it got weird. I was like, I'm good.
I haven't read the manga, seen the anime, theatrical films, or live-action adaptation, or played any of the games. My only knowledge of Sword Art Online is that the characters are trapped in an MMO, and if you die in the game, you die in real life. Dun dun dun! That's a pretty compelling basis for a manga or an anime, but it's particularly interesting as a video game set in a video game. As it turns out, not knowing much about Sword Art Online made me the perfect guy to sit down with Echoes of Aincrad because, well, it's a little different from what's come before.
With me.
Right.
Before we dive into that, let's take a quick step back and establish a few things first. Aside from a short story section of the tutorial that we don't want to spoil, I didn't really see any of Echoes of Aincrad's story. Instead, my time with Aincrad was spent doing a quest called The Lost Log, but that doesn't mean I can't talk about some of the narrative decisions this single-player action RPG makes. Maybe the biggest departure for the series is that for the first time in its history, you're not going to play as a pre-existing character who is part of the story. Instead, you'll make your own. When I asked Sword Art Online game series producer Yosuke Futami why they made the switch, he told me there were a couple of reasons. First, most games in the series have been set in the middle of Sword Art Online's story, which required players to have at least some working knowledge of the series. Echoes of Aincrad doesn't, and Futami hopes that means it will be more approachable for folks who aren't already fans. Second, he's hoping that by putting the player into the game world as their own character, they'll be able to experience the story of being trapped in a death game themselves, not vicariously.
Adds a level of immersion too.
My journey started in the Town of Beginnings. I spent a little time running around, getting a feel for the place, and finding some elven statues that taught me some of Aincrad's lore. The Town of Beginnings feels like, well, a starting town in an MMO. It's got that dense yet artificial feel of a town in a video game, which pulls double duty in a video game set in a video game because NPCs feeling like NPCs here is a feature, not a bug. The town also shows off how utterly gorgeous Echoes of Aincrad is. This is a good-looking video game, like, damn. After seeing the town, I teleported to a nearby terminal.
And I think it looks good because of its art direction and not because it's hyper realistic.
You can teleport anytime you're in town, picked up a quest, and then teleported to my chest to change up my loadout and level up. You see, Echoes of Aincrad started me with a sword and board build, and I decided immediately that I would not be doing that because it just didn't feel like me. I opted for a great sword and some new gear instead, and spent my growth points to maximize what I wanted to do, meaning hit things with a big sword.
I gotta kill my people in this game.
One of the neat things Echoes of Aincrad does is rewards you for hitting certain milestones as you level up, generally once you hit 5-point increments. Getting my dex to 5, for instance, boosted my sword skill ability damage by 3%, while hitting 10 bumped that to 5%. It's easy to play an RPG and feel like individual levels don't do much to make you stronger, but every time I got a new level or hit a new milestone in my time with Echoes of Aincrad, I felt it. Something Futami confirmed was intentional when I asked him about it. And in Echoes of Aincrad, you can reset your parameters whenever you want. This isn't typical of Sword Art Online as a setting, but it makes Echoes of Aincrad more accessible to newcomers, and encourages you to experiment with your build until you find something you like.
I already know the build. Anybody that been, checking in with your boy, you know the build I'm going for. They got either twin swords, twin daggers, short swords, or whatever. I go twin blade every time.
Once I was kitted out good and proper, it was time to go out into the world. Echoes of Aincrad is set in an MMO, but it's a single-player game. When you go out, though, you're not alone. You can select a companion to go with you. I had my choice of three.
Is there a co-op
Yori,
at
a
all?
healer, the tankier Wise Man, who operates in more of a utility/support role. I went with Wise Man. Once we were in the field, how we proceeded was up to us. The map would tell us where we needed to go, but I could only see some of it. I'd have to unlock the rest as we traveled. Our first enemies were wolves, boars, and kobolds, all perfect for getting used to Echoes of Aincrad's combat system. A lot of what's here is stuff you've seen before. You've got a guard, light and heavy attack chains that you can alternate between on the fly, special attacks, and your partner's abilities.
How's this?
Iori's frosts create a circle that heals you if you stand in it. You'll also open up additional attacks if you dodge at the right time or manage to parry, as you do, and some of them are pretty cinematic. Fancy. What makes Echoes of Aincrad cool is how dangerous everything feels. Standard enemies can and will kill you if you're not paying attention, especially early on, and they're not exactly the forgive and forget type. They'll follow you for a long time if you pick a fight with them, and they're all different. Kobolds will block your attack and retreat and try to blind you. If they do, the screen darkens and is filled with static. It's a great effect that does exactly what it says, makes it a lot harder to see. Wolves, on the other hand, are nimble and aggressive and travel in packs. Boars are bruisers that you probably don't want to go toe-to-toe with directly. And there are weird plants that attack from range with vines and can burrow under the ground. And that's not even getting to the elite enemies, which are bigger, faster, and stronger, and come with additional attacks. By far the worst, though, were the wasps. They fly, they shoot poison, they hit pretty hard. Them boys is tough.
I hate flying enemies in games. I have not seen the character jump once at all, so I'm gonna assume you're stuck on the ground. I hate flying enemies like that.
So much so that I felt like San Andreas' CJ whenever I saw one. Ah, shit.
Here we go again.
Futami knows it too. When I asked him about the enemies and specifically mentioned the wasps, he nodded and said, "Ah, wasp," in English. The rest of our interview was conducted via translator. Those are the words of a man who knows what he's doing, what horrors he has unleashed on his digital world. But even then, there are ways to deal with enemies. They can be stunned, opening them up to big damage.
Oh, it don't look like there's any ranged
weaponry. In the case of the wasps, I could knock them out of the air, which is where they're strongest.
Ooh.
If I stun them, I could chop off their wings, preventing them from taking to the air and forcing them to fight on my terms. No matter what enemy I went up against or how many times I saw them, it was always scary when a fight drew the attention of more baddies, and exhilarating when I landed a big hit, nailed a dodge attack, or timed a team-up attack just so. What I saw of the world was just as intriguing. In most RPGs, the worlds are something you navigate between combat encounters, but in Echoes of Aincrad, getting around is half the battle. Futami told me that they wanted the world itself to be like a dungeon, and I felt it when I was playing. Much of the time, I was figuring out how to get where I wanted to be from where I was, and what paths I'd need to take to get from one floating orb, which serves as places to rest and restore your potions, but also respawn enemies, to another, finding chests along the way. By far my favorite thing about the world was finding arcs. Defeating the mini-boss enemies sealed inside the arcs will open up other seals scattered throughout the world, allowing you to get chests and other goodies. One time, I opened up a cave, but it was too dark for me to see what was inside. Apparently, I didn't have the right equipment to light the way. I guess I needed a Pokemon with flash or something. That could have been annoying, but I love.
Okay, they really are making this like a dungeon. Not a dungeon crawler, but like a real dungeon crawling game. Like, that's good, bro.
Of navigating Echoes of Aincrad's world so much that it just made me want to come back later. There's so much detail here, and even walking through the mud is exciting because it would show up on my characters, something Futami said the team put a lot of effort into. And you really get a sense of that as you play.
And he said that he didn't do much story,
usually meant making the trip in chunks, fighting my way to the next orb, then going back to town to level up, equip new armor and weapons, and upgrade and slap new abilities on them, which sadly I can't show. Switch out my companions, I liked them all, but Iori quickly became my go-to because of her healing prowess, and so on. Each trip to the wild was an expedition, and I loved an excuse to try out new weapons and partner characters, which returning to the city provided. My demo ended with a boss fight against a couple of big, scary plants. It was a grand old time, and a fitting end to my time with Echoes of Aincrad. I came, I saw, I conquered, recovered the lost log, and left many a dead wasp in my wake. I'm still thinking about Echoes of Aincrad more than a week after playing it, about its world, about the characters, about the wasps. Even the metatextual stuff is fun. Remember Iori? She appears as a woman when I met her, but early on Iori is a man. And Futami is eager to see what players make of that change. It's particularly fitting for a video game. After all, who amongst us hasn't played as a member of the opposite sex while exploring a fantasy world? If Echoes of Aincrad can nail what it's aiming for, it should be a chance for seasoned vets and newcomers alike to get into the Sword Art Online world. Me, I just want to go back to that cave. Next time, I'll make sure to bring a light. For more, check out our previews of Control Resonant and Crimson Desert, and for everything else in gaming, keep it here at IGN.
Okay, so the thing that I'm thinking about is, I'm not gonna count this as a negative, but with a game like this and in the world is set in, which I've not played Sword Art games before. Maybe it's different, but for if there's no actual co-op feature, that kind of, I ain't gonna say sucks, but it's unfortunate, you know? Because could you imagine you and your bro getting into a video game like this and just running through levels, or you get a little squad of like 3 or 4. They scale and y'all better yet, it from what I've been hearing, there's 100 levels to this dungeon. So you and the gang could probably, let's say that y'all all like level 8, y'all could run through level 10, maybe level 11, but then level 12, the difficulty ramps up some more. And so y'all get y'all ass kicked and have to go back and run it again, you know? But if there is just no co-op at all, like I said, it's unfortunate. It's not a killer for me, but it would be cool to just get a few people together and run through. Like he said that he didn't play the story, he was playing one specific quest, and I wish he would have played a little bit of the story to see like, is this a like standalone story in the Sword Art universe, and you have like story beats, cutscenes, all that, or is it just, you know, more like in the within the universe, and you might run into characters, cutscenes might be with those individual characters, which if it is with the original story, essentially you're a side character. You're not Kirito or who is it, Asuna? You is player number 7392. And you not doing nothing significant. But hey, we will find out. And I want to see how crazy the bosses get, because the flower boss, they cool, but it just seems like they just big versions of stuff you run into. I want to see a Minotaur, a Hydra, something crazy, you know. But again, it's all in due time. Did they? Is there a release date at all? No, there is no release date. So you just got to keep an eye on it. Just got to keep an eye on it. But if y'all enjoyed your boys like reaction, review, whatever you want to call this, please hit me with the goodness. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Lock that in by hitting the bell. That is the goodness. Hit me with it, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.